Hey everybody, I was just gonna read a chapter to you. I miss y'all. My dog's right here. I hope that you have better manners than her. The book I'm gonna be reading is The Toothpaste Millionaire. The Toothpaste Millionaire by Jean Merrill. Illustrations by Jan Palmer. Chapter 1, My Friend Rufus. This is the story of my friend Rufus Mayflower and how he got to be a millionaire. With a little help from me. With a lot of help from me, as a matter of fact. But the idea was Rufus's. Rufus's idea was to become a millionaire, just to make toothpaste. He was 12 and in the 6th grade at the time. By the time Rufus goes into the 8th grade this fall, he'll have over $1 million in the bank. I don't suppose you know too many 8th graders who are millionaires, and who wouldn't know Rufus was one to look at him. He still wears the same old blue sweater. First, I'll tell you how Rufus and I got to be such good friends, since I'm white and he's black. And this seems to surprise some people. 2 years ago, the company my father works for moved from Connecticut to Cleveland, Ohio. In Connecticut, we lived in the suburbs. You may not believe it, but up to the time we moved to Cleveland, I had never met a black person. There weren't many black families where we lived in Connecticut, but in East Cleveland, where we live now, there's quite a few. East Cleveland is my old neighborhood with big houses and lawns and trees that look 100 years old. My father says you can't buy a new house built as well as these big old houses. Our house in Cleveland has a lot more rooms than our house in Connecticut. There's a room called a conservatory, which is just for plants. And there's a huge laundry room and a workshop, which came in handy when Rufus decided to make toothpaste. I didn't meet Rufus until 7 weeks after school started. Sometimes it was hard making friends in a new neighborhood, and the kids on my block weren't too friendly at first. It was okay at school, but after school and on the weekends, it was lonely. There wasn't anybody to hang around with but my brother James, and he isn't interested in anything but model cars. If you've ever had a brother who's crazy about model cars, you know this conversation is not very interesting. You can't even understand it at all. It's all about camshafts and gear ratios and RPMs. I know that if you want to make friends, you have to be friendly, and I tried. There were 2 girls about my age, Clem and Josie, who lived in the house next door, and I thought it would be easy to make friends with them. One afternoon, I saw them watching me pick apples from this nice old tree, this old apple tree we have in the backyard, and I invited them to come over and pick some apples if they wanted to, but they said no. Another time when Clem broke her badminton racket, I called over to ask if she wanted to borrow one of mine, but she didn't. Maybe they didn't like apples or were tired of playing badminton, but I had the feeling it was that they didn't want to get involved with me. Maybe because I was white. One of the nice things about Rufus is this. He doesn't seem to mind that I'm white and he's black. He doesn't even mind that I'm a girl. My brother James, though, can hardly stand it that I'm a girl. This can be pretty annoying to a 9-year-old boy. With Rufus, I didn't even have to try to make friends. It was as if we had always been friends from the first day I met him. I was riding my bike to school, and the strap that I used to hold my books on the back of my bike broke. I heard my books go thunking all over the street. Well, I pulled up to the curb that was trying to figure out how to rescue the books. Papers came from my notebook, and they were blowing all over the place. Every time I ducked into the street to grab a paper, cars started honking their horns. It was rush hour, and nobody wanted to be stopped. Suddenly, this kid on a bike pulls up behind me. He jumps off his bike and runs into the middle of the street and puts his hands up like he's a traffic cop. Take your time, he says to me. Then when he gets the traffic under the control, he helps me pick my stuff up. Some kids who lived on my street were standing on the sidewalk laughing at the two of us, crawling under cars. One of them yelled, "Hey, Rufus, you'll be late for school." Rufus didn't pay attention except to explain to me, "That's my name, Rufus." Rufus tried to fix my broken book strap, but when he tied it together, it wasn't long enough to go around the books. "Never mind," he said. "I'll put them in my saddlebags." Rufus had these beautiful blue nylon saddlebags that fit over the carrier of his bike. "Those are neat," I said. "Where'd you get them?" "Made 'em," Rufus said. He stuffed my books into the top of the saddlebags. "Can't spill out of there," he said. "Come on, we'll see who's late for school." He waved at the kids on the sidewalk as we zoomed past them on our bikes. When I pulled up beside him at the red light, Rufus said, "I'll make you some if you get the material." "Some what?" I said. "Saddlebags," Rufus said. "You can get waterproof nylon, red, orange, blue, or black at Vincent's Army and Navy." At the next traffic light, he said, "You don't need to buy leather for the straps. I've got some left over from making my saddlebags. All you need is nylon." And that's the end of chapter 1. And I will be back soon for chapter 2. Y'all stay safe. Miss you.